Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry. Today's video is going to be my look at the new Void content that released today. We got 2 brand new battles, an assortment of weapons, some endeavors, and a twinkling slime facility which hopefully you're already leveling up now. Among these 2 new Void battles, Void Nidhogg is the harder one, the one that's designed for repeated play, and can let you craft weapons that will be very valuable against High Zodiarch once that releases next week. The other Void battle is called Catoblepas Anemos. Basically, this is a wind bull who can petrify you, stun you, and it's not too hard of a battle, but it is a higher might requirement, so it's on the higher end, similar to something like the Manticores, where it's not necessary that you continuously grind it, but right now it does have a double drop, so it's a pretty cool time to check it out, and you'll want to do so to clear out all of the limited endeavors that are happening right now. We also got a special addition to the Void Battle treasure trade in the form of 100 consecrated water, which is much needed for those of you who want to craft the High Zodiarch worm print when that comes out next week, and 100 succulent dragon fruit, which is equally awesome. So that's all as far as the extras surrounding the Void battles. You can also, of course, clear out any other monthlies that you haven't yet, but in my case, I'm pretty much done with that after doing a lot of Void John grinding last month. As you can see, with my first clears for these, I decided to go in solo. I built teams just going in blind with what I thought would be effective after reading the descriptions for these bosses. Neither one was too big of a challenge, but there are some annoying mechanics to watch out for. The Petrify mechanic I don't think is bad enough that you would need to craft Petrify res weapons. You can dodge a lot of the Petrify inducing moves, and if you're in co-op or even single player, if only one of your team members gets petrified, the rest can probably pull out the match anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal, but I will show you in my later clear, my speed clear, that was more challenging and that really was something quite interesting. As for Void Nidhogg, the enervation effect is pretty annoying, but you can kind of power through it as well. It's similar to Dull, it will drastically reduce the damage that you deal. You do lose the enervation effect when you shapeshift, so you have a few get out of jail free cards if you're willing to shapeshift. The other thing that Void Nidhogg does that's pretty remarkable is it actually has a screen-wide blast where you can break Void Nidhogg to avoid taking damage from it, but otherwise this will likely put you near death if not actually kill you. I don't know if it's intentionally designed not to kill. In my case, it didn't kill any of my adventurers, but I think that's just because of the HP that we're at, where maybe it leaves you at a low HP without killing you. I'm not sure, but I never saw somebody die from it in my limited experience so far. Either way, it's a pretty strong screen wiping effect, so even if you don't have death from that attack, you have to be careful afterward, and I found it really helpful that I had Hildegard in my comp for my solo clear. Going in blind on this, I was taking a lot of enervation attacks, so my Albert was dealing really low damage, but after a grindy match, I was still able to clear. The other thing to note about Void Nidhogg, and the reason you're seeing that little shield effect appear on him, is he does have ranged resistance. So ranged characters don't deal as much damage to it, and that's why my Hildegard wasn't really doing a whole lot, and why that special effect, or that visual effect, kept popping up. So she was just there to heal, but for DPS characters you really want melee units for this fight. I do think the epithet on this is easier than the other one, but it's still a significant challenge. You do want to come in prepared in order to take it down. There is a silver level epithet for a 60-second clear, but then there's also a gold level epithet for a 40-second clear. As for the weapons that you can craft by defeating these Void bosses, they're pretty good. The ones that come from Catoblepas Anemos are basically enervation res weapons that you want to craft to give yourself an easier time against Void Nidhogg. As you've seen, since I went into this blind without any of those weapons, it's not strictly necessary. Just like with Dull, if you keep hitting enough, or if you're good at dodging, you can avoid using one of those types of weapons. But I could see it being convenient just to have one or two, maybe just one even for your go-to character if you plan to grind this out a lot. It might just make your life easier. It might let you do things like auto and co-op. So I wouldn't discount those weapons entirely, but they do go up to 5-star from what it looked like. Maybe I'm mistaken and it was just the yellow of the light element and not a yellow border indicating a 5-star, but to me it looked like they were 5-star weapons. So they're not bad stats-wise, that's just a stat stick in other contexts. And they also have an HP 70% equal strength ability, which isn't bad either. So besides that, from Void Nidhogg, obviously you can craft some High Zodiarc's Bane weapons. Those are really awesome with that 30% Bane. Ever since we switched to getting 30% Bane weapons instead of 20%, they have been very effective. These are especially good if you haven't crafted a 5-star core weapon yet. And they're even better than some 5-star core weapons, but it's just that if you haven't crafted one yet, you're in the clear, you can easily get one of these, and you're in a great situation. So in particular, for say the dagger, the blade, or the axe of the light element, none of those have an attacking skill, so those 3 weapons would be great to craft this Void Bane weapon, and you're not missing out on much. Even with the weapons that have an attacking skill, it's quite possible that this 30% Bane is better. I think that would depend on the character, the abilities they have, how much they emphasize skill damage, but I know that there's probably some exceptions to that, but it's a very good weapon. The thing is, if you already have a core 5-star with an attacking skill, you just may not need to craft it. That's probably going to be good too. That defense effect that's on this though, if High Zodiarc has a screen wiping move similar to Void Nidhogg, that extra defense could come in handy. And that's going to be something to really consider going into this fight. Maybe old Ryozan is going to have a role to play with his defense buffs. I didn't actually check, but it looks like Void Nidhogg can get paralyzed. I'm not sure how much affliction resistance he has at this point, but hopefully that's a hint that High Zodiarc will at least be able to get paralyzed a small amount, if not completely. That would really open the door for adventurers like Floor, Yachiyo, and Summer Cleo to take him on next week. Summer Cleo might be questionable if the ranged resistance thing is telling at all about High Zodiarc, but I seriously doubt that they would actually put an ability like that on a High Dragon. It just makes me wonder, since Void Nidhogg has that ability, will ranged characters have a harder time for some other reason against High Zodiarc? Maybe there will be some dynamics in the fight that makes being a ranged unit harder. I'm not sure, obviously that's still speculation. And if you look at Void Jean, she wasn't exactly one-to-one with how High Jupiter was either. So there's got to be plenty of differences between those two fights, and I'm looking forward to seeing High Zodiarc next week. Of course, you have to wonder, with the High Dragon cycle being completed, will we continue to get new Void battles? Since the primary purpose of Void battles was stated that they would serve as a bridge between Imperial Onslaught, that content difficulty level, and the difficulty level of High Dragons. So you do have to wonder in future months, what are Void battles going to look like? Are we going to ever see an end to this mode, or are we going to continue to get reskins and various new Void battles just for fun? I definitely hope we do get some more Void battles. I think it's really cool that we got a new worm print today with Void Jean d'Arc. So we're getting some, not necessarily canon lore, but we're getting some representations of these dragons, these really cool Void enemies in worm print art. I just think that's really awesome. So I would love to see Void Vayu, since we have Void Agni, things like that. I do hope they continue the series. Even if they are on the easier side, they're still quite enjoyable. And the timed clears can present a challenge. So I'm showing off my clears I got on Discord at this point, and you can see that we had to have a pretty cohesive strategy to do this. For the Void Nidhogg clear, we use basically Albert and Annalie with Sister's Day out or the Chocolatiers to try to get a quick stun and try to get Albert to an electrified state very quickly. We wanted to make sure we were braking to prevent the screen wipe attack that Void Nidhogg does, and from there we basically just piled on as much DPS as we could. When it came to Catoblepas Anemos, that was harder. That's only a 20-second clear, so it's very similar to the Gustroom epithet, if anyone's familiar with that. That only has a 15-second timer, so it's even more ridiculous. This is the scenario where I have to say the Chocolatiers is really good. I know I was kind of down on that Wyrmprint because I still think Wyrmprints like Gentle Winds are also very good with 50% skill prep as well as some strength. But in this particular case, even something like Sister's Day Out wasn't getting my skills fast enough, so I ended up using my level 10 Chocolatiers and using Mim since she has several attacking skills and my best dragon is Konohana Sakuya. So we were able to knock that out with just an extra second, and thankfully I am now done with the epithets and just have to grind out the rest of these Void Battle endeavors. I'm looking forward to taking a look at Chapter 10 right away after making this video. I hope that you've all been enjoying that and the new Void Battles. The last thing I want to say, just as a bit of housekeeping, is Emma is out, her showcase is out now. We do know the full details on her kit, which I didn't know for yesterday's video. She does look really awesome. She has a buff time passive. She also has primed strength, which is great for her. So she does seem like a really cool unit. But remember, you may pick her up in free summons, so there's no need to rush to summon on this showcase. I also want to say that Apollo, he's good. I know that I got some comments raising the point that yes, you can use Apollo with Elegant Escort. The Burning Punisher on those does stack. They're not exclusive. All I'm saying is that that Wyrmprint is probably going to be good enough for a lot of cases. And while Apollo is really good, I still think Konohana Sakuya is probably better. But Apollo is great for any character who would want to force strike like a sword unit, and he is probably going to be better than your Agni, better than your Cerberus in a team that can support him. So that's all I want to say to add to my banner thoughts. The two new Wyrmprints look okay, but neither one is especially amazing. The Void Jean actually is way more interesting than the 5-star in my opinion, just because we've never really seen that combination of strength and critical rate before. If we were to get that on a 5-star print, I could really see that potentially taking off. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.